Hello, I'm Mike Gordon, and welcome to the 5-year anniversary of Perfect Playthroughs. I've got a lot to cover, so please be sure to leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. We are achingly close to reaching 900 subscribers, even as we speak. And assuming I haven't gone there already, and my main objective for the year is to reach 1,000 subscribers. That way I will finally be able to qualify for monetization. It may not be enough to earn a proper living off of, but every little bit helps, and your support in reaching this all-important milestone is highly appreciative. Now before I begin, allow me to apologize well in advance for my sudden absence. Long story short, for the sake of my health, I really needed to take a break from the groundhog grind. I'm still not up to 100% health, but rest assured that I will be ready to continue the grind real soon, preferably tomorrow. After all, Summer of Sega will soon be upon us. I've only got 2 more games to go in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Early Days collection. But first things first, I've made the promise that I will be unveiling my next Perfect Playthrough. I only have these 3 games remaining, as well as 2 mystery presents waiting on standby. Which of these games will be number 139? Well, ooh. Yeah, some of you may have already predicted this one, but Perfect Playthrough number 139 is none other than Contra Anniversary Collection for the Nintendo Switch, compliments of limited run games. Believe it or not, the reason I chose this collection as one of my 12 games has to do with one of the later entries having released on the Sega Genesis. It's been a long requested title on the Sega Genesis subreddit, and I've been aching for an opportunity to finally cover it. However, I prefer to play through games in a series in chronological order, and I've yet to play any of the Contra games up until this point. As such, this collection is perfect for getting me up to speed with the Contra series. Perfect playthrough conditions are really simple. Depending on who you ask, there are anywhere from 7 to 10 games to complete in this collection, each with their own conditions for completion. Contra and Super Contra for the arcade, Contra NES as well as the Famicom, Super C, Contra 3 The Alien Wars, Operation C, and Contra Hardcore. There are also the PAL-exclusive Probotector games released on the SNES and Mega Drive, but they're just reskins of Alien Wars and Hardcore respectively. Contra, Mega Man, and Yu-Gi-Oh! All had compilations released on the Nintendo Switch. I happen to own each of these titles digitally. And since Yu-Gi-Oh! Was gonna be this year's Groundhog Grind, the only games I was able to work on once the grind began were the Contra Mega Man games. And while Mega Man had fewer games in its collection than Contra, Contra just so happened to be the first of these games to be finished. Goes to show what happens when one collection doesn't have any other bells and whistles outside of being the games, whereas Mega Man does. Still, I'm currently in the early stages of voice recording, so Perfect Playthrough number 139 will officially commence on April 15th. That's 1 week from today. And since people nowadays don't seem to take too kindly to multi-part playthroughs, I will be leaving out the Part 1 and 2 designations for the Contra Anniversary Collection entirely. But rest assured, every game in this collection will still fall under the Perfect Playthrough number 139 banner. Speaking of which, let's see where I'm at with the Mega Man Legacy Collection. Believe it or not, I've actually beaten all 6 of the numbered Mega Man games in this collection. I had done so ahead even of the Contra Anniversary Collection. What ultimately forced the change of plans were the challenges. Not only do I have to complete every single challenge in the game, I also have to earn the gold helmet in all of them too. And let's just say that I'm starting to regret my decision to include both Yu-Gi-Oh! And Mega Man at the same time, because these challenges are hard as fuck. Seriously, given the current events in my life, I don't think I'll be able to complete this one by the time Summer of Sega rolls around. But I will have the Core 6 Mega Man games ready to go in time for the May 1st premiere. Oh boy. Okay, confession time. I only own 4 of these 10 confirmed games physically. I own Spyro the Dragon for the original PlayStation, Crash Bandicoot Warped, also for the Sony PlayStation, Donkey Kong Country, right here. I just want to make sure you guys can see it. And of course, I own Tekken 2. I don't have the manual, just the disc. Zelda, Double Dragon, and Sonic Jam were each emulated months in advance while I was working on Xenoblade Chronicles. And I own the Contra, Mega Man, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Collections digitally via the Nintendo eShop. Once I had finished live streaming Xenoblade, I only had about 3 or 4 days to film these 3 games, as well as this game. So 4 games total. And keep in mind that, and I only had 3 or 4 days to film all those games before I found myself pigeonholed onto the Nintendo Switch for the next 3 to 4 months. That is not a lot of time to get through all those games that would otherwise average to about 3 or 4 hours per game to complete, especially when post-production is taken into consideration. Now, I knew that I could beat Crash and Spyro within that time. I grew up with them. They're some of my favorite games on the PlayStation. Wasn't at all worried about those 2. But Donkey Kong was nothing short of a little miracle, given I only had about a couple hours to complete before I had to begin live streaming Yu-Gi-Oh! And because of this, I only had enough time to film a single fight, a single episode where I was playing as Heihachi Mishima through all the different modes. However, I am nearing the end of the Groundhog grind, and Contra and Mega Man are both currently in post-production. Once the Early Days collection wraps up and I've finished filming the intro for this year's Summer of Sega, I will be sure to focus all my remaining efforts on Tekken 2. I make no promises, but my aim is to get this game ready for a June 6th premiere. And since it's also my birthday, I think it'd only be fitting that the game that sold the whole family on the PlayStation should come to represent that particular day. Speaking of Summer of Sega, or should I say, there we go. Now, granted, I didn't make this logo or anything, I just didn't have enough time to draw anything up on my own. Apparently there's a real-world European convention that happens to go by that same name, and it's been going on strong 20 years now. But that's just a coincidence. I have no intention on infringing on their trademark or anything like that. But the point is, having just completed Sonic Jam and Sonic Schoolhouse earlier this year, the classic era of Sonic is now officially over, and the adventure era of Sonic has officially begun. As such, I intend to retire the Summer of Sega moniker, at least for this 1 year, to make way for the Summer of Sonic. The games I plan to cover are Sonic Adventure DX, Sonic Pocket Adventure, Sonic Shuffle, and Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. And if I have time, I'll even throw in the advanced games for good measure. And given the summer vibes I get every time I play them, the adventure games are a perfect fit in representing Summer of Sonic. Honestly, it's a good thing that this year's summer is gonna be an especially long one, because the adventure games can be quite the grind in of itself. Summer of Sonic is set to begin on May 22nd, the start of Memorial Day weekend, and it is slated to end on Labor Day, which falls on September 7th this year. Man, talk about one long epic summer. I hope I'll be able to last the entire season. Before I go, I still have one last announcement that I want to make. While some may have predicted correctly that my next game will be a Contra Anniversary Collection, someone suggested that it might be one of my mystery games. And while I'd make for one hell of a reveal to celebrate the 5-year anniversary of Perfect Playthroughs, this isn't how I select the order of my 12 games. The plan for these two mystery games is for both of them to be role-playing games. And so long as I remain pigeonholed into the Yu-Gi-Oh! Early Days collection, I can't really begin work on either of them. I have no idea if there will even be a 2027 here on Perfect Playthroughs, hence the theme of 12 Games 2025, centering on my very own personal bucket list. As such, I don't want to make the mistake of announcing these two games too early and have to commit to the selections. However, I think I am ready to provide you with at least a quick peek on one of these two games. Not a full-blown reveal, just a peek. That's right, it's been 2 long years since I've last covered a Final Fantasy game here on this channel. Although Final Fantasy X did come pretty close to becoming my 100th, ultimately the vote went to Kingdom Hearts instead. But facing the potential end of my channel, I felt that it is finally time to return to this iconic RPG franchise and take on, quite possibly, one last mainline entry before the end. All I can tell you is that it's not going to be 6 or 7 since I've already completed those 2 games, and it's not going to be either of the MMOs either. You'll just have to wait and see which of these entries it's gonna be. Again, I've yet to begin work on this Final Fantasy game, but once I've completely finished work on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Early Days collection, I will proceed to begin work on these 2 mystery games. Well, that is every announcement that I want to make to commemorate the 5-year anniversary of Perfect Playthroughs. I will resume the Groundhog Grind tomorrow at around 11 a.m. Contra Anniversary Collection will be going live on the 15th. Mega Man Legacy Collection will begin on May 1st. Summer of Sonic will begin on May 22nd and will last until September 7th. And Tekken 2 will be aiming for a June 6th premiere. The mystery Final Fantasy game will be unveiled in its own good time, as too will the other mystery game. By all accounts, the race to 1,000 subs will end on New Year's Eve. Once the bell tolls midnight, the fate of Perfect Playthroughs will ultimately be decided by then. So let's get those views and subscriber counts up starting now. Otherwise, thank you for showing your support by watching all the way through to the end, and I hope to see you again later. Happy 5-year anniversary!